All right, here we go. Market update number 2. As you may have noticed, I've been doing 2 of these recently, given what's been going on in the markets. There's just a lot going on. This is kind of an important time, in my opinion. So I feel like I need to dive a little bit deeper into the both sides of the market. Excuse me. And so what I'm going to do today, just to kind of set the tone for the video, is review the Nasdaq, review SPY, review ETH, review ETHBTC, review others. So that's just kind of my all-encapsulating altcoin chart. Review the dollar, review yields, and gold, and then that's going to cover it. So let's just start off here with the Nasdaq, and this is the same weekly chart that I've been sharing for some time now, and there's not a whole heck of a lot to update. And why do I say that? Because it's been kind of playing out as we've been anticipating, and I've been drawing a lot of parallels from this move that we're currently in with this move coming out of the COVID lows. In specific terms, how the market has been moving from an Elliott wave perspective. Okay, and just to kind of reiterate how I viewed that, coming out of these COVID lows, we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 big movements to mark the top in November 2021. Now, this entire downtrend, I've been pretty adamant about simply just being a major correction in the context of potentially the final leg of the secular bull market that began in 2018. And so I've been expecting a V-shaped recovery, and so far that's how it's been playing out. And just a reminder, I'm not a financial advisor. Don't take this as financial advice. No one knows what's going to happen in the markets in the future. This is just my viewpoint. Please just use this for educational purposes. So where do I think we are now? Well, I think we're in the midst of 1, 2, and we're in this third wave, which is a very, very powerful wave. And if we're going back to what I've been pointing to a lot, this structure, which is minor 3 of this third wave, a lot of similarities between minor 3 and 4 of where we are right now. And so from a contextual perspective, from a probability perspective, if I'm looking at the power behind this move and kind of compare it to where we were back then, RSI was taking another run at overbought, where this arrow is illustrating. And, it bumped up against it and then rejected. The following week, we had a red week, and then it went on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 weeks, only of which 1, 2, 3 were red following that. So how is that important to the context of what I'm talking about today? That's important in that my expectation is very similar type price action as we move forward. Could we get a red week next week? Absolutely. Could we get a retest of this significant breakout region? Absolutely. That being said, the third wave is typically very, very powerful, and I don't expect dips to be more than 1.5% on a weekly time frame. I think the dominant trend is very, very clear, and I expect that to continue. All-time high is the next, in my opinion, the next move in the Nasdaq. And so from there, let's move along to SPY. And this is the SPY daily chart, and not a whole heck of a lot to update on this one either. So we're in the midst of a kind of low time frame, 1, 2, 3, 4. Maybe it's doing this type of leading diagonal into 5. And just to kind of illustrate what a leading diagonal looks like, that's or an ending diagonal, excuse me. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then it kind of consolidates in this, ascending wedge type structure on its way to complete the fifth wave. And that's just minor fifth to complete 1, 2. And so that's how I'm looking at this price action. Again, that could most certainly be wrong, and we get some type of test and go prior to resumption. The key level, again, I just don't think people are going to be getting the pullbacks that everybody wants, right? Everyone wants, what's everybody looking at, right? Everyone's looking at this. Everybody's looking at this. Everybody wants everyone wants to buy this, right? Retest and go. However, I just don't think markets are going to be that accommodating. And so again, we'll see. I don't know which way this is going in the immediate short term, but in the medium short term, long term, this count is still valid, active, tracking. And again, this has all-time high as the next move. Maybe a little correction prior to a very powerful impulse into the 500-600 range Q1 of next year. ETHBTC. All right, ETHBTC. Where did you go, ETHBTC? Love it when it does these reboots on me. The screen refreshes. Love that. Love that in real time. All right, ETHBTC. And this is a really, really important chart, I think, for alts more than anything. Obviously for ETH, direct implication, this is ETH measured in Bitcoin. This is a weekly chart going back all the way to 2016. Okay, and what I kind of have illustrated here is just, this very clear channel, right? And then we've got this massive consolidation pattern. And right now, the levels that I'm looking at, well, the clear level here is this uptrend that it's been in since 2017. That's a clear uptrend. And what has it done as it's challenged this uptrend? Well, let's observe, right? We get a challenge, top trend, hugging up against it, falls out, and boom. And we get a nice bounce off of our critical level. And if I'm really zooming in, that weekly candle is forming a hammer. I mean, that's a hammer candle on a weekly time frame. You see those at key reversal points in the market. And I really like this wick down to deviate below 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 weeks of price action. You got a wick below, very strong reclaim. That's a powerful type of candle. That's very much like what you saw here, right? And so my expectation here, no bias. I don't hold any ETH. I don't hold any alts. Right? That's my expectation. Is at least the top end of this range at 0.0675 BTC. And then you watch to see what happens here. There's a cloud there on the weekly basis. So, could that happen? Absolutely. If that happens, alts are going to go bonkers. Well, I think alts are going to go bonkers. I don't know. Nobody knows, right? Okay. So that's the update on ETHBTC. I know I got a few requests for that. All right, let's go to ETH itself. And not a lot of change from last week either, folks, on Ethereum. This is a weekly chart again. And, we've got this Adam Eve double bottom I've been tracking for a while. We got a real deviation out, kind of out of this potential breakout that everyone was looking at, right? In terms of the double bottom, reclaim, and then you're just you're reclaiming important levels here. I mean, there's no other way to look at it. In my opinion, you've again, come out, established a range, deviated, reclaim this range, upper end of the range, and now you've broken out, and you got to clean this week. You got to clean retest of this breakout region. So the next stop for me would be 29.63, maybe a little consolidation there prior to the next leg up, and I just see this continuing to move. I don't know any other way to look at this chart right now but to be bullish. This has just very healthy consolidation, pre-parabolic type run in front of it. That's just my interpretation. And so that's how I'm viewing ETH. Next, let's go to others. And others, this is a weekly chart of others. We've been tracking this one since I've been doing these videos in the summer. We got a breakout. We've got RSI well into overbought territory. We've got, let's see, where's this RSI right now? 84. And so the question is, do we get a little consolidation here? I think it's warranted. I think we should expect it because if Bitcoin is going to move next, the question is it going to suck liquidity out of alts? I don't know. It may not. I mean, the way ETHBTC is looking, and let's just say we get a spot BTC Bitcoin ETF approval, if that's a catalyst, I don't know. I think there's potential for this to surprise a lot of people. So could we get a consolidation here? Absolutely. Could it just keep running, kind of like it did here in January of 2021, where we were at the same level, and it just kept going? Absolutely. I'm not attempting to try to forecast, this week, next week, the following week. Either of these things are in play. What I will say is, when it comes to folks talking about profit taking, that's your personal decision. However, retail isn't here. Retail is nowhere to be. Retail is not buying alts, in my opinion. I haven't heard one person outside of Twitter or YouTube in the real world talk about one alt in 6 months. So retail, in my opinion, arrives when we get up in this range. And so that's my interpretation of kind of where we are right now. All right, the dollar just continues to perform as we've been projecting, right? We had this massive parabola, and I believe we're in this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave corrective move. Remember I talked about this, maybe it was last week or the week before, this important region here, look for a back test, right? And this is the range high going all the way back to 2014, this blue line that I've got here. And so it's there for a reason. This area was defended, and you've got a rejection, and there's a lot of air below here. And again, that's not to say that these things are going to travel in straight lines, right? We just have a very defined channel. And in a channel, what do we get? Right? So even a bounce up to 102, 103 would be a counter trend move in a clear downtrending market, in my opinion. So my view on the dollar hasn't changed. Still looks very, very, very constructive for risk assets. Next are yields. This is the 10-year. And this one is tracking how I've been envisioning it to track out, given that this was a bearish kind of blow off top without steam. Okay. And so we wanted to see this breach. We wanted to see a back test, and we wanted to see it continue down. And that's what we're seeing. And so on a weekly time frame, the next real area of support for this chart is the cloud. And so again, like nothing moves in a straight line. Could we get down to 3695 and then a little counter trend rally back to where we are now prior to the big move down? Absolutely. The big move down in yields, if that's the direction it's going to take, okay, happens when we breach this cloud, and that 375. If we go through it here and get a rejection, yields are going down fast, in my opinion, and that would really the timing of that would coincide with where I see markets going, risk assets going, you know, January, February, March. So that's the way I'm interpreting yields. Last but not least, we're going to do gold. And there's not a big update on gold either, right, folks? This is the pattern. This is the reaccumulation pattern that I've been tracking for some time. And this is nothing but bullish. You've now reclaimed the top end of a range that goes back to July 2020. And this thing has been consolidating for 3 years. This is just a massive rectangular consolidation, Wyckoff reaccumulation, okay? And love seeing beautiful deviations at important key inflection points in the market. And that trend line goes all the way back to, it goes back a long ways. Goes back a long ways. That goes back to 2001. So that was the little deviation sweep. And to me, gold is just consolidating here at resistance, high end of resistance. This is nothing short of a bullish consolidation prior to what I perceive being a major breakout. And when you have rectangle type of consolidations like this that last that long, the longer that consolidation, think about it like a spring. The longer the force on the spring, and the greater the force on that spring, the greater the release of that energy. It's equal to or greater than the amount of energy that's used to compress it. And that's Hooke's law. That's a law in physics. And so that we see that applied in financial markets all the time. We're seeing that with Bitcoin in terms of the accumulation range I've been claiming we've been in, from March back 12, 13 months. And we're seeing that here play out, in my opinion, in gold as well. So 3,000 short-term target on that would not surprise me in the least. Folks, that's it. That's a wrap for market update number 2. For those that celebrate Christmas, Merry Christmas. Have a great holiday. Have a great time off with your friends and your family. You deserve it. And I appreciate you all tuning in. All the comments, as usual, love them. You guys are awesome. And for those that I forgot, I know sometimes I get asked to post things and charts things and I don't remember them all. But I do my best. So thank you again and take care.